All right, welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 11th of June, 2025, and this is the Cluster API office hours. Cluster API is a sub-project of Kubernetes SIGs, and as such, we follow their meeting guidelines, which can basically be summarized as please treat everyone as you would expect to be treated, or explicitly so, please be kind to each other. And if you'd like to raise, or if you'd like to talk, please raise your hand and I will call on you. So at the beginning of our meetings, we like to take a little time for new attendees or new community members to introduce themselves. So I will be quiet for 30 seconds. And if that sounds like you, please feel free to unmute yourself and say hi to everybody. I'm not seeing anyone unmuting, so we will move on to the open proposal readouts. I don't think Alessandro is here to talk about the Arch one, although I owe a review there. Although I think I did leave one. But propagate taints from machine templates down to nodes. Is
There
anyone
is
here?
a note from Nolan in the meeting notes. He cannot attend, but he's asking if folks can take a look and leave feedback.
Oh, okay, great. Okay,
Um,
well, yeah, we can. I guess we
yeah,
can
and
come
we,
back
we
to that.
we discussed the topic in a couple of the old meetings, so should not be new to everyone. Uh, yeah, please take a look. And also for autoscaling from zero, I know you commented, I answered, so I think we are getting near. Just to comment open, if I remember well. So
Yeah, it seemed like we were getting pretty close there, just kind of reducing some of the confusion and whatnot. All right, cool. Well, then, I know we have a demo about this today, but did you want to give any other updates about the chained and efficient upgrades?
uh, no, let's show the demo that speaks way better than the proposal itself. So
Awesome. I love it. Okay, cool.
you have can you make me co-host so I can share?
Yeah, but first, Matt has a topic before you on
Oh, sorry.
No,
that.
you could keep the flow if you want to go first. Mine is not nearly
No,
as
no, 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 no rush.
okay.
Yeah, Matt, so please, you opened
Okay,
a work
sure.
in progress PR?
Yeah, as I talked about last week, I've been chipping away in off hours on a PR, and I can do a demo if you want, but these two screenshots more or less show you what is there. So this is just how to visualize new objects in Headlamp. You get a map here. It joins everything together through the owner references, which seems to provide a reasonable structure. And then, if you click on any of those, there's kind of a tooltip that shows you a little more information, and then there's a details screen. And it more or less all works, but obviously we're reusing the same icon. The details screens aren't that uh, specific to the objects. Uh, there's a couple little bugs. And so I made a list on the PR, and basically, if anybody, I have done web development before, but the last time I did a big app, it was important to go into the browser and shut off JavaScript and make sure things still worked. So uh, if anyone knows modern technologies, they could probably help out. And with some of the things on the bullet list, I would love for people to test it or contribute.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. Does anybody have questions or comments about this the headlamp plugin?
Uh,
Oh yeah.
I have one question. Matt, what is the easiest way to test this?
You can write tests for it, which is something we actually need to do to get.
No,
That's the
no,
only.
for instance, if I want
Oh,
to
to
ask
test it.
I want to ask a field engineer, hey, take a look at this one, see if it can help you, because
Yeah,
I think that it could be useful for folks looking at cluster one or the other. So, and they can
yeah.
provide probably more valuable feedback than me, but yeah, they are not a developer, so that's the question.
This links to an issue in CAPI, and I made a comment there that describes how to test it. But basically,
Oh,
right now, before it's published, um, yeah, if you scroll down to the bottom of this, I guess I should probably put it in the PR as well. Obviously, that'd be. But you check out the repo on this branch. and then you do change the directory and do npm run start actually should be good enough. And then somehow, I don't know what the magic is, that will start up your plugin and it'll find a running instance of Headlamp and just insert itself and register and it'll work.
Okay, so maybe we should wait for a first beta release or alpha release of these so we can make it all, the flow will be way simpler for not developers. Because,
Yeah,
you
if
know,
you're
to
not a
get
developer.
yes, you don't get NPM on or all the stack that is required on your machine, and so it become complex. But yeah, thank you for
Right.
working on this.
Yeah, once it's published, I think you can just go into Headlamp settings and click and say, I want this plugin, and it'll show up.
Yep.
That's it for me.
Mike, you're in mute.
Oh, sorry.
I'm good at the mute. So yeah, I don't see any other hands going up or anything. So Fabrizio, I think it's over to you, and I've made you co-host. So please feel free to take it away.
Okay, so this is a very simple demo just to show the idea. So what I have here, I have yeah, a console where I can do operation above. Below, I have basically a watch that is looking at control plane machine in this cluster. So for now, we have only one control plane machine, which is at 129. And then the last tab below, I'm watching at uh, workers in the same cluster. So this cluster has 4 workers, all at the same version of the control plane, like it happened when you use cluster class. So if we think at upgrade today, what we can do with cluster class is that we can go in cluster spec topology. So I'm patching the cluster spec topology, and you can change the version. And what you can do is basically to go up by 1 minor. This is all you can do. And if I do it, what happens? First, the control plane upgrades. So in the tab in the middle, you see a 130 machine being provisioned, and as soon as this machine is stable, the 129 machine is going away. Okay, and then what happened after the control plane is at the target version, the worker upgrade starts. And so depending on your max surge, max unavailable, the upgrade goes on. In this case, it is going on 1 machine at a time, create a 131, delete 129 until all the upgrade is gone. So far so good. This is basically today's cluster upgrade. So what is the issue here? Is that users in most cases, they struggle to keep up with Kubernetes version. Kubernetes is relentless. Every 4 months, you get you get a new release. But many users, as they have to test application for the new Kubernetes release and so on and so forth. So they struggle to keep behind. So what happens today is that maybe what they do is on here they try to catch up with Kubernetes. So in a quick sequence they go up by 3 release. But if they want to do this today, what they do is what they have to do is that go here, first go to 131, wait, then go to 132, wait, then go to 133. So this is, let me say, cumbersome, or it takes time. So enter chained and efficient upgrade. So we've chained an efficient upgrade. It is now possible in Cluster API to upgrade by more than one minor. Okay, in this example, I'm going up from 130 to 133. Okay, let's see how these things works. So, as you see, we start by the control plane. Okay, but what happened is that the control plane cannot go from 30 to 31 because there are versions Q that you should respect. So the control plane first goes from 30 to 31. Okay. As soon as let's keep going. So control plane is getting stable. 130 machine is being deleted. What happened next? And this is the interesting part. Given that we are doing efficient upgrade, we know that due to versions 2 rule, it's not necessary to upgrade worker. We can keep going with the control plane. So as you see, the control plane is going up first to 132 and then to 133, but we keep the node at 130 because it is allowed by Kubernetes versions Q. What does it mean is that we are skipping a lot of machine creation, drain operation, etc., etc. Then when the control plane is finally the target version, we can now start upgrading workers. But as you can see, basically the worker only goes through one upgrade cycle instead of 3. And this is basically the sum of chained upgrade, which is the control plane going by every step, and efficient upgrade, which is skip worker upgrade whenever we can. And yep, I hope this is a little bit more clear than a proposal, and that's the demo for today.
That's an awesome demo. Thank you, Fabrizio. Very cool. Does anybody have questions or comments? I know I've got a few, but I'll open it up to the audience here. Who's got questions? Okay, I guess just I have questions. So Fabrizio, what would happen if you had gone further than the 3 version SKU? Would it have stopped in the middle and done a partial upgrade, or would it have ignored it, or what would it have done?
So when you reach the limit of the SKU of the worker, it upgrades the workers, even if it is in the middle of the sequence.
Oh wow. So if you had gone from like 128 to 133, it would have gone up to like 131, upgraded all the workers, and then upgraded
And
the
then exactly. So when it is necessary, you upgrade the workers.
That is very cool. Well, yeah, this is great work, and I'm sure like there are many ops people out there who are thankful to be seeing this. Neha, please, you've got your hand up.
In case taking the same scenario, if we go from 128 to 133 and the control plane is upgraded to 131, for some reason worker nodes are stuck upgrading to 131, is there a way during this upgrade to, go and change and say, okay, I want to stop at 131 and not proceed up to 133?
So no, that's a good question. So currently our webhook is basically preventing to change the target version while an upgrade is in progress. We can think about allowing you to change in a way that you stop an intermediate step if it is the current or the next one. But yeah, I think that's a good point. So is there is probably also a note in the proposal about this. We have to figure it out if we want to allow to basically change the target version during an upgrade sequence if it is still compatible. I hope this answers to you, Nia.
Yes. I have one more before you go, Stefan. I've not read the proposal, Fabrizio, yet, but I'll ask you directly. Once I trigger the upgrade from 1.28 to 1.33, can I see what are the steps Like, there's like, can I see the plan that CP will be upgraded to 131, worker nodes to 131, and then CP will continue? Like, can I see the upgrade path, CP followed by MD followed by CP followed by MD, for example?
So in this prototype that I have here, we yeah, the upgrade path is stored in an annotation. I think we have two surfaces on condition, but I still have to figure it out details. Stefan?
Were you done with that second topic, or did Neha want to respond?
No, I said I'm good.
Sorry, I missed that one. Okay, back to the first one. I think in general I agree. So basically, if you can figure out in the webhook that it's safe to basically downgrade a version because it's not actually a downgrade, because our upgrade is not already at the point where it would be a downgrade, that's fine. Plus minus, we have to ensure that this is really race condition free and not we are allowing a downgrade and then the controller makes slightly more progress and then we are doing an actual downgrade, this sort of thing. What I'm not sure about is how we would leverage that feature, let's say that way, right? So if an upgrade is stuck onto a certain target version, then it is stuck until this is resolved, right? And only afterwards it would make further progress. But it's not like downgrading that desired version will fix the upgrade that is stuck. It will just make sure that after that upgrade is unblocked, it won't do further upgrades afterwards. Maybe another way to look at this could also be that we are not changing back down our target version, but more like we have some way to just make sure that we are not doing further rollouts by pausing this thing in some way or another. So that basically once people fix this, the controller won't just start like the next one. I don't know if that's better in any way. I know like pausing with the pause annotation has like a ton of problems. And I'm not suggesting that. But yeah, we have to think more about it, I think, to see what we can do and how exactly it would solve which problems by being able to change the version back down.
The reason I mentioned that, Stefan, is because many customers have like a maintenance window where, they want to upgrade to finish, right? Or they are okay if there was downtime or something. And they plan for it, they start the upgrade, and then they see things are stuck and it takes time for them to resolve. So now they are going to go beyond their maintenance window. So they just want to stop where they are at, maybe the next version, to limit the downtime, right?
Okay, yeah,
So
got it. That makes sense.
that's the scenario.
Yeah, and this could also come very close to what we have today with these defer upgrade annotations. I'm not saying that these annotations are like a super great API, but basically they are currently the means to say like, okay, don't do further upgrades from here on forward. And maybe we can also look into how we can make this one better and maybe also expand it. So in one way, maybe this should be an API field in some way instead of just an annotation. And maybe it should also be able to pause further control plane upgrades and not just pause further machine deployment upgrades, which is what it can do today. Yeah, just there's a related feature. Maybe the thing is not changing back down to this hard target version. Maybe it's just a thing that, yeah, what we were both saying, I think, like just giving the user control that after the current upgrade step, further upgrade steps are not done immediately and they can just halt there and continue later.
All right, good questions, good discussion. Does anyone else have questions or comments about it? Oh, sorry, Fabrizio.
Maybe, if I remember well, that there is not much in agenda. Maybe you can give two more additional detail on this proposal. So one thing that is important when we do skip upgrade is basically figure it out the intermediate steps that your control plane has to go through and your worker has to go through. So how this works. So there are two ways that works. The first one is the one that I'm using now. So let me show you. Okay. So I'm showing basically this is a managed cluster. So it uses a cluster class. What I have in this cluster class is a new field that is the list of the Kubernetes version. Okay. So if you set the list of Kubernetes version, this is what Cluster API is going to use to figure it out, the intermediate steps. If you remember, for instance, when upgrading from 130, the first version we picked was 131.9. And this is because we're picking the latest patch version for every minor we go through. This is the current logic. But and so providing this list of Kubernetes version is the first way to enable this feature. Okay, the second way is a little bit more advanced. It requires a runtime extension, and it allows you, for instance, instead of having a hard-coded list of version, you can go and query, for instance, for your OVA images or AMI images, and use these as a source for your intermediate steps. And when you use the runtime extension, you can also do crazy stuff like, oh, I want that for 130, I want to go through all the minors. Or I want my workers to upgrade to 130 because there is a reason. So TLDR, if you use Kubernetes version here, there is an implementation that works, but is not super flexible. If you use a runtime extension, you have full control. Yep, Nia?
This field is something that we can configure on the cluster if we are not using runtime extensions. So
it is on the cluster class.
Okay, on the cluster class. Got it. Thank you.
Okie dokie, Mike. I stop sharing.
I got one more question before. Well, it's okay. This is like my selfish question. What was the tool you were running in the bottom two terminal windows to watch there?
It is. I got an alias.
It's called Viddy, Viddy.
VID.
I write it in the chat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks nice.
I think we didn't show like the major feature here, which is you can go back in time.
Oh, no, and VIDI or in the upgrade?
With VIDI, you can essentially say, show me the history, and then you can just step back like a few seconds until how long it like recorded, basically.
Very cool. All right, thank you. TIL, right?
Nia has the hand up.
Oh yeah, Nia, please.
I had related question, Fabrizio. So the Kubernetes version and cluster class, would it be nice to have that, like that you can override that on the cluster, because cluster class affects all the clusters, right? Maybe for certain clusters, I want to define certain set of Kubernetes version for an upgrade path. I know we can use runtime extension for it, but if I don't want to use that, and I want a different set of Kubernetes version for different clusters using the same cluster class, would it be good to be able to override that thing in your cluster?
If I can give my 2 cents, so the Kubernetes version is like the entry level, but whenever you start using this in a real production environment, you will have many other things to keep in mind. I make an example. So first of all, you have to keep in mind your OVA images. Then, since you are certifying your OVA images and maybe you're certifying your application for a specific Kubernetes version, then you or if you're a DON and etc. etc. So it will become quickly complex. So my personal opinion is that you can use Kubernetes version for doing a demo or for very simple environment. As soon as you get to something serious in production or product backend, you are going to use the runtime extension.
I think any product can define that in the using the runtime extension, but I was thinking from customer point of view that, if the runtime extension defines, maybe they would, like as a customer, I would want to for whatever reason, overwrite, what the product is, what the defaults are by the product, right? Like, my default for node drain timeout is 10, but I can still override it. That's something that the product is defining, right? Product is defining that I should upgrade from 1.29 to 1.30, but for my application reason, I do want to go to 1.29.2 to 1.29.10, understanding that that OVA is supported, and like with all that
Yeah.
understanding, like understanding
No,
of
no, no,
those
I
things.
got it. But then you have to combine these with all the other part, OVA, add-on, etc., etc. So at the end, you will need a runtime extension that maybe have to find a way to get the user input. And for these, there are variables.
Okay.
So we can think about this. Honestly, it seems to me unlikely that you can use a version for one cluster and not for another. It seems that we're going, and I would prefer not make not model the API on top of exceptions, but model the API for the 80% of the use cases and make possible the 20%. So, and it is also the first iteration of this feature. So behind the scenes, if you read the proposal, there is a ton of work like, we have to think about lifecycle hooks. How do they change since we are upgrading workers and control plane in some sequence? And the last angle is that, you can make it available to user, but then you have also to test it. So be aware that for a chain, I was making an exercise. How many end-to-end tests we should implement in CAPI to test the possible permutation, and the number quickly blows up. So okay, possible, but there are also downsides.
It's a great point about complexity and whatnot too. And I'll get to you in just a second there, Stefan. I just wanted to jump on there and say, like, when bringing a feature that's complicated like this into a new project, I think Fabrizio, you've got a great viewpoint here. It's like try to cover the 80% of the cases, and the complexity that comes into those minority of cases, those are the ones we have to be really sensitive about how we handle it. So I think just a great point about kind of testing and complexity. Stefan, please.
Yeah, 2 points. One, I agree with Fabrizio that I think that if there is a use case like that, it should be possible a way to essentially funnel whatever user input we have to that runtime extension that provides the upgrade path. The other one, I think it makes sense to have on a cluster class a definition of base. So you may even notice that what we didn't model the API on the cluster class in a sense of like, hey, this is like an upgrade path or something. We basically modeled it as a list of Kubernetes versions with the idea of like, this is a list of valid versions for clusters using that cluster class that can be used to calculate an upgrade path, but maybe in the future also for other cases. I think it makes sense for a cluster class to basically have a list of Kubernetes versions that are valid for all clusters using that cluster class. I think it's not really working out well to have on one Kubernetes cluster that has one specific Kubernetes version, a list of Kubernetes versions that are valid for exactly that cluster. It's just, I'm not sure if we can find a way to model this API nicely. It's just weird in some way, right? Why would you need a list of versions if you have like one version field and like the old ones don't matter anymore, the future one? So it's like, that's where we went away from like putting this somehow on the cluster, because it just seemed to make more sense on a cluster class where it applies to many clusters that can be on all of these versions and have to go through all of them potentially.
Yeah, maybe since and we are speculating because this will be probably the second iteration of this work, but maybe in the future we are going to add I don't know, a notation or a field where you can add a cell expression that tells to the system, please skip those versions for this cluster. So you go by exception instead of going by or of making the exception the rule. So by default, you use all. If you want to skip some, you just tell, I want to skip this one. And so you don't have to configure all the cluster, but only the one that behaves slightly different. So we can think about it, and for now it is possible via runtime extension, basically, and variables.
Makes sense. Good discussion too, and great questions. Does anybody else have questions or comments about this feature or the demo? Okay, I think we'll move along to the next topic then. Thank you again, Fabrizio, for the demo. That was really cool. All right, so Nolan said he might not be able to attend, and I'm looking at he is not here, but is looking for some more feedback on the taints proposal. So I think that's in here somewhere. Yeah, so if anyone's interested about this, I know I am. Please have a review and see what Nolan's talking about and leave your comments there. I think these are both the same. Yeah. Okay. Any questions or comments about that one? Okay, moving on to the next point here. Chris, you've got a question for the maintainers, so please.
I think the question is as written, and I think Stefan's already said yes in the comments. So unless they have more to say, I'm good.
Did anybody else have any further in there, or is it just yes, we're good?
Yeah, yeah, I can also just say it whatever. So essentially, I don't know when it did last alpha, like 1-2 weeks ago, roughly. We have been merging like a bunch of other stuff, which probably is good if people can pick it up, because the earlier you see the breaking changes, the better. So you have time to adjust. And then we also have 1 or 2. I have to look at Fabrizio's in detail how widely that applies, but definitely 1 or 2 critical bug fixes that are really annoying if you use the first alpha. So it's good to get them out. So it's easier to pick them up.
Cool. Thank you for the extra detail. Fabrizio, please.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the folks that are already testing the first alpha, the alpha 0, and they are providing good feedback. So yep, I really appreciate it. Looking for more feedback. So please pick up the alpha. We are not doing for the fun of doing a release. We are doing because we want people to start using them.
And I guess I have a question, and this is just my ignorance here, because I'm still a couple versions behind updating like Kubemark and Carpenter and whatnot. Is 1.11 where we're turning on the V1 beta 2, or is that still in, okay? I see Fabrizio nodding. Now, for a provider implementer, we usually have really good upgrade docs or anything, but is there anything like big to know about upgrading to V1 beta 2?
Give me a second that I give you the link for the new migration dot, and you can take a look.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. The migration docs have been really good. No, yeah, Stefan, good point. Like I should spend more time on that. But it's a good topic to bring back up here, because I'm sure if I'm asking the question, probably other people are too.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I think just basically the only comprehensive answer is really
Yeah,
the
no,
document.
absolutely.
But
And our migration docs have been really good in the past too. So like kudos to everyone who's putting those together. Like it's really nice.
Maybe some meta information, which is basically we are also working on picking up the alpha already in CapV, and basically use CapV as like a first canary. I mean, for testing, but also for what providers have to do to work with the new alpha. So, but yeah, the more people that use it, the more problems you find earlier. So, but I think like the big topics for providers are probably start using beta 2 when you read core cluster API types. Figure out a plan on what you're going to do with your conditions, because you are probably using cluster v1 beta 1 conditions, and there are more details in the doc. I think those are like the biggest two.
Well, I appreciate you like summarizing it, because I'm a little nervous about updating like the Carpenter stuff and whatnot. Anyways, but that's a problem.
Oh, yeah. Maybe another hint: if you're like sort of an alpha level project, it might be better to just use beta 2 and get started on that than trying to first get it out on beta 1 and then migrate to beta 2.
Right. I might as well just move it now, for sure. Okay, cool. Does anyone else have questions about the releasing the, like a bug fix release for Alpha 1 or anything else? Okay, so we're at the end of our regular agenda. I don't see any provider updates here, and Matt had to leave early. So just a note that what is it, the node provisioning working group? I don't know what NoPro is not scanning for me for some reason.
Node provisioning.
Node provisioning. Okay, so the node provisioning working group, the time has changed to be earlier, but it's still on a bi-weekly cadence. So anyone who's participating there, just check out the notes and whatnot to see what the time is.
Yeah, it will be nice if they post the new time. So
Yeah.
but because I don't remember a PR changing the meeting time in the repo.
Maybe let's just ping Matt on the doc or something
Yeah.
that he sees it.
Oh, you're gonna ping me. Yeah, I was gonna say like you.
To be honest, I don't remember if it is even in the doc or it is in the calendar that Kilo created. So yeah, but if they, I think just adding the new time to the meeting notes is good enough.
Does anyone know what the new time is by chance?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll have to ping Matt. All right. I think that brings us to the end of our meeting agenda, unless anyone has an ad hoc topic they'd like to bring up before we go here. Or we can take 20 minutes of our day back. So going once, going twice. Okay, we'll call that a meeting. Thanks for coming out, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks for hosting.